video, we're going to talk about contact form conversion rate trick, or a trick to increase the form lead contact rates that you're getting from your contact form fills on your landing pages or website by 2 to 3 times, okay? Now this trick, so to say, that will get the number of people that fill out your form that you can get a hold of, because obviously, as you know, it's tricky getting a hold of the person after they fill out the form, isn't about speed of contacting people or any other obvious thing that you can think of. I guarantee you that this is something you've never heard of. So, of which we're talking about something that was normally called caller ID spoofing back in the day, but has been legitimized by actual sales departments and should be used in your sales department if you want to make more money from the contact form fills that you're already getting through your website right now. I'm going to go through exactly what this is in detail, what service allows for it, what kind of results you can get from it, of which varies a little bit based upon what type of business you have, either if you're a national or regional company versus a straight up local company. And of course, I also have a bonus strategy for you to increase the amount of people you're going to get a hold of as well. So naturally, having 2 to 3 times as many sales, which is what 2 to 3 times higher contact rates are going to get you, is going to make all the difference in how much money you're making from your ad campaigns that you're driving to your landing pages right now. So why not actually use it and make the most of the traffic you got? So with that said, getting into the content, I have talked about how the speed of how fast you get back to your form leads affects the profitability of said leads by 2 to 3 times in and itself. So if without using this technique I'm going to share with you here today, you could also increase your amount of people that you're going to be able to reach that filled out your form by 2 to 3 times simply by getting back to every person within 60 seconds of them filling out the form. Why? Because people don't answer the phone anymore, because if they don't recognize the phone number on their cell phone, they're not going to answer it. They're going to think it's spam, scams, whatever. And people are also busy. Once somebody fills out the form, after about 15 minutes has went by, they're on to doing something else. And maybe a minute, depending or not, whether or not they're actually doing research and contacting 2 or 3 people in your space. So the only real way to guarantee you can get a hold of somebody, practically speaking, is call them as soon as they fill out the form. Literally speaking, like within 60 seconds, they're going to assume, basically, or that most people, I should say, assume that if they get a call as soon as they fill out the form, that it has to be due to that form. They're going to therefore answer. There's no question as to whether or not what this call is actually about, even though they don't recognize that number on the caller ID. So, and especially, by the way, if that caller ID would actually say the name of your company on it itself. So with that said, and I know what you're saying right now, but Corey, I can't actually answer the form leads that fast. The quicker you answer the form leads, the more contacts you're going to make with the form leads. There is a way that if you want to see a perfect example of this, go contact any big mortgage company or lender and see and apply for a mortgage through their website and see how quickly they contact you. It's going to be within 60 seconds. Why? Because they know how much of a difference this makes. And what I'm saying here is actually true about the amount of increase in sales you're going to get and revenue you're going to get from a set amount of contacts. Which, by the way, if you want to, and if you could, want to know how they're able to dominate the Google search space in terms of advertising on keywords that cost $50, $100 a click, VA loan, home loans, or, online home loans. That's how one of the main ways that they're able to do it. A really, really, really good landing page that gives and instills trust in the user right away. A really good multi-step form process where you're filling out information one question at a time, not asking a bunch of questions all at once. And then as soon as you put in the last question, it calls their call center. Their call center automatically calls the user, so there isn't even a salesperson waiting for form leads to come in. They're literally, their call center just puts you in contact with that person immediately and then takes out human action from the equation altogether, which, by the way, you could replicate this at your own company. I don't care, how big your company is. There are several services out there that when somebody fills out a form lead on your form, it'll call your salesperson and it'll say with a robotic voice to that salesperson, hey, Joe Smith just filled out the form on your landing page. Would you like to call John Smith? Hit 1 or press 1 on your phone if you would like to be put in touch with John Smith. The salesperson presses 1 and it immediately calls John Smith. And then you say, hey, John Smith, I know you filled out the form, blah, 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 blah. This is how the big companies like Veterans United or any of these big mortgage lenders that I was just talking about do it, how they actually facilitate just what I described to you. But in a lot of cases, I still understand you're a small company. A lot of times you cannot answer the phone right away. Maybe you're a roofer who is on a roof, given an estimate, you can't answer every single call in real time like that. You're not set up for that. You're not a huge company with a well-defined sales department who just services leads and that's all they do. And then in that case, you could get the same kind of lift in results by using caller ID spoofing, okay? Which they don't really call it caller ID spoofing anymore. Caller ID spoofing is where you could have the caller ID show up on someone's phone to anything you want. If you wanted to say the White House and 9999999 as far as the caller number, you can do that with caller ID spoofing. There are services though that have legitimized this because spoofing had to do with scams and the like for a long time. But now smart entrepreneurs have got into spoofing in a legitimate way to lift the ROI from advertising campaigns that they have because they know having a local number show up for somebody will make them answer at a higher rate than they would if a national number shows. Why? Because there's too many spam callers and people look at the caller ID and see if they recognize the number before they're willing to answer the phone. If they are able to see a local number, they're way more likely to answer the phone. 2 to 3 times more likely to answer the phone than if it was like an 800 number, for instance, which is why this method works. Now, there are multiple services out there that do this, but one of which I would recommend to you right off the cuff is SpoofCard. You can Google them. They charge by the minute, but when a form lead fills out the form, you can decide which number you call out from. It's not really a caller ID spoofing the way that it used to be. Caller ID spoofing is where you legitimately use the same phone line, but for lack of better words, I'm not a hacker, so I may not be wording this correctly, but the header packets, that get sent to the SMS networks are like spoofed, so you can literally have the ID say whatever you want. Whereas with these services like SpoofCard, they've rent out like 1,000 different phone numbers and a bunch of different area codes and locations. And all you're doing with SpoofCard is, just like a call tracking provider like CallRail or whatever, you're just picking the number that you want to call out from and you're leasing that number for a short period of time to make that phone call so that the call out that you're making comes from that leased phone number that you're leasing on a short-term basis. Comes from that number that now matches the user's location. Therefore, it makes it more likely they're going to pick up the phone when you call them. So if you can't answer that phone within 60 seconds, you use this method and they think they're getting a call from a local, maybe it's the utility company, maybe it's a job prospect offer. They're going to answer because any call that comes in from their local jurisdiction, they're going to be able to pick up and answer. Not even just from the same area code, but from the same area code plus prefix. Meaning, if you don't know what I mean by prefix, we're talking like area code, and then the 3 numbers that directly follow it is the prefix. You can, through these services, actually spoof, for lack of a better term there, both the area code and the prefix, so you seem super hyper local to that user. Therefore, the response rates you're going to get when you make that call to the user, even if it's 2 days after they filled out that form, they're going to answer it. Now, it's naturally another thing. You're still not going to get the same response from the user as if you call them within 60 seconds when you do get the contact with them. Why? Because a lot of times they've bought from somebody in that two-day time period. It'll get the same response rate, but now whether you could close, that's a whole different story, which is why you still should prefer to just come up with whatever way you need to do it, whether that be you pay a sales commission to a salesperson to answer the phone when you can't answer the phone, or when the salesperson you have now can't answer the phone, you answer it in terms of focus on speed instead of using caller ID spoofing, so to say, to lift your contact rates from the leads that you got coming in. But if you can't do it, it's a great secondary way to kind of get back what you would have lost not being able to answer the phone within 60 seconds. And you get them, and naturally, a lot of times they're not even going to remember that they filled out your form. If you're running Facebook campaigns in particular, most thing that people complain about the most at our firm that I talk to that are not with us, but when ran Facebook campaigns, they say, it's easy to get form leads, but then when you call them up, they don't even remember filling out the form. The same thing happens, by the way, with Google Display Network ads. So you're running banner ads to drive traffic to a form. You call them up the next day, they don't even remember filling out that form. So it's to the point where you might as well just be calling random people and trying to sell them, because they don't even remember 90% of the time. And when they do remember, they're not going to answer like I mentioned. So naturally, they could have bought from somebody else. If you wait a long time, they could not remember filling out the form. And if you're talking about display traffic, not Google search traffic, where they're proving that they're the one that came up with the idea to buy from your market, you could have tough closing even though you get contact with them. But anyway, with that said, okay, if you're running a national campaign and you can spoof your caller ID so you look local to that user, what we found, because we did the testing, and 2 to 3 times higher contact rates for people that you call back with a local phone number than a national phone number. Which, by the way, if you've seen my other videos, we talk about all the time how if we have a national service we're promoting, we'll set up separate campaigns for all the top city/metros in the country. So the top 50 metro markets in the country by population, we'll set up a separate campaign for each one so that our ad, when they're searching for product design company, it'll say product design company Chicago for the people that are in the Chicago market that are within 60 miles of Chicago. And then the landing page will say product design company in Chicago, and that lifts conversion rates more than double, increases the click-through rates more than double. And when you have a local phone number there to go along with it, you get another 20% or so bump in conversion rates because you have a local phone number, which you can get that through a call tracking provider that leases numbers out like that. So you can do that kind of thing. Mine that I would recommend would be CallRail. But then if you add the final piece to this, which is to call people back that fill out the form from a local number, now you got higher contact rates on the form leads you got. Now you got even more results. So anyway, that's with national companies. Now, if you're just a local company, you will get, this is 100% worth it to do still, especially if you're doing any kind of serious numbers in terms of traffic and money you're spending on ads to drive to your landing page to get contact forms. You can get upwards of double more contact rates on local campaigns. And when you're doing it on a local campaign basis, what you're trying to do, or what you need to do to get that lift, is not just, okay, obviously in some markets, in Denver, there's 2 or 3 area codes that cover the entire Denver market. Having a phone number that has your local area code on it makes it more likely the person's going to answer it if they see that number on their caller ID. But it takes it to a whole nother level when the prefix code matches my prefix code as well on top of the area code matching. And that's where you're going to be able to get the 30, 40, 50, 100% increase in answering rates from the leads by having that local number. So you want to take that all the way, which you can do with one of these spoofing services like Spoof Card. So with all of that said, that is the method at hand that's going to be able to make you significantly more money by increasing the contact rates of the form leads that you do got. As far as I mentioned, there is a bonus strategy that I'm going to give you in this video, of which we've done this as well. But if you want even more response rates, even higher response rate from the form leads you got, go ahead ahead and do an auto text / SMS for all the form leads you have for another 20 to 50% higher increase in contact rates from the form leads that you got. Meaning, you go ahead and you automatically text, SMS text, the form lead right as soon as they fill out the form, and you ask them a question like, how big is the hole in the wall that you want us to fix if you're doing drywall repair? Or what kind of tattoo do you want us to remove? Can you send a picture to us? We've done that type of thing for a client in that type of in that exact space, I should say. And when you have an open-ended question like that, it makes people really want to answer. And unlike email, especially if you're just relying on email to get in contact with these form leads, 20% of people are going to see your email, 90% of people are going to see your text, which is why SMS marketing is so popular nowadays, because the open rates on email isn't what it used to be, which is, by the way, why you should call form leads, not just email them. But in addition to that, nobody's texting them. If they're contacting 5 people, get 5 quotes, nobody's texting them. You're the only one that texts them, and you're going to get the sale at a much higher rate because you were the one that texted them and because they always see texts, especially if you use that open-ended question method like I just mentioned. So go ahead and add that to your strategy as well. Increase your contact rates even further. But one of the most common reasons why I see clients we have at our advertising agency fail is because their sales process sucks. And the number one reason why their sales process sucks, assuming we're generating leads, we're not an e-commerce, we're not doing a representing an e-commerce brand per se. It's because they don't answer the form leads quick enough. And therefore, they're only talking to like 20, 30% of the form leads. And then on top of that, they do talk to the person once and then they don't follow up with them again. That's not good enough to make money in a competitive market anymore. You got to be able to answer quick. You got to be able to follow up with them until they say, yes, we either bought from somebody or fuck you, quit calling here. Because otherwise you're just not going to get the juice that you need out of each lead, given what the cost of the leads are to even make the math work in terms of the ROI that you need. So you got to, and most people, they just want the leads to come in and they're ready to go and they don't have to do much work to sell to them. And unless you're the only person in your space doing what you do, or it's clear that you're the best automatically, it's not going to be good enough. Now, naturally, you should, 100% your goal should be when somebody contacts you, you don't have to worry about doing a song and a dance to get them to buy from you. They just know you're the market leader, and they're going to be able to wait 5 days. You call them up, and they're happy that you answered the phone still. Without bragging here, that's what we have here at our advertising agency. We're not competing with anybody. Nobody else offers what we do at our firm with the guaranteed service that we have. And therefore, when somebody contacts us, the speed doesn't matter because nobody else does what we do. And we know what we do that's different, people care about. So you can change what you're offering to have something unique and beat everybody else that way. Or if you don't have a guarantee like that you can't do, let's say, or warranty, which is the easiest way to stomp all your competition in that way, you put out more content than anybody else in your space and just bury the internet with content. And so that whenever anybody does any kind of research in your market, they're going to see your content for sure. And so when you get a lead, they just are familiar with you. They feel like they have to give back to you just for the value you gave to them in the content. And that's one way to just differentiate yourself with the same exact offer of service or product that anybody else has in your market. But you got to pick something if you're going to really, really excel in your market. Or maybe it's you have more reviews than anybody else in your market. And that's another way. But your goal long term shouldn't be, we're going to win by responding to leads faster, because it's limiting and you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position because it's easily replicatable. You get somebody else that comes along, can answer leads quick. Now what? And now you got all this overhead and suddenly your ROI on your campaign just dropped and now you're screwed. You don't want to be in that position. You want to make money and use your money to try to make more money. So you put more and more distance between you and your competitors so that you get so much distance at a certain point that nobody can catch up to you. And you've got just a complete moat around your business. So anyway, with that said, that is what I wanted to share with you today in terms of this contact form conversion rate trick, so to say, trick that anybody can use. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you are looking for the best source of information on how to make millions of dollars running ads for your business, this is the channel you want to subscribe to already, as the information I'm providing you on this channel is coming from somebody who does ad strategy 40 hours a week as my full-time job on dozens of ad accounts to find out exactly what works and what does not work on Google, on Facebook, on these main ad networks, and give it to you on a silver platter for you to use for free on this channel. 99% of the information you find online that tries to help you make money with ads is either too generic or it's made by somebody who doesn't run ads and they just sell courses. They're making money off of advertising revenue. They don't really run ads like they pretend they do, and therefore the information is just irrelevant. This is real information you want to be able to use to make money with ads if that is your goal, and you should subscribe, and you should subscribe now as a result. I also have a blog that you can follow that I personally write over on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where the specific strategies that we know work to get guaranteed results for the clients that we serve, I give it and list those actual strategies for you there with screenshots, with the step-by-step instructions to do them. If you like the channel, you're definitely going to see a ton of value from that blog as well. You should check that out as well. If you want somebody to use these strategies and just apply them to your account without having to do any of the work yourself, this is exactly what we do at our ad agency at guaranteedppc.com. With that said, what we do that's different than anybody else, as mentioned on this video today, is we guarantee you results. We'll guarantee you a lift in profitability from your ads up front before we take a fee. And if there is no lift that we say we're going to get you, there is no fee. And the only catch is that we got to know we can get great results with your stuff up front before we agree to take you on as a client. And therefore, we don't work with just any client. But if you want to see if we can work together and how much results we can get for you, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com, and I'd be happy to give you a free assessment to see what the opportunities may be. Maybe we can work together. Maybe we can't. We'll at least see. And with that said, beyond that though, if a lot of people that are watching this channel, they like managing their own ads. That's why they're watching. That's fine. But if you want to shortcut your way to success, which you obviously should, if we worked in your niche market before, you can use the exact ads, the winning ads, winning landing pages, winning campaign templates, copy and paste those into your ad account directly and get the same results we're getting with none of the work and none of the money that we had to spend to figure out what works in your market the best. Many times of which was millions of dollars worth of ad spend to figure out what works to get to a certain cost per lead, certain ROI on our campaigns. And for a small 4-figure fee, we'll sell you the entire keys to the kingdom, so to say, to get those results in your market. As long as you're in a different geographic area than our client, you get turnkey results for yourself with none of the work, none of the investment, other than the templates themselves, of which we could tell you the results you could get with the template before you used it in terms of cost per lead, ROI, ROAS, whatever. Anyway, at the very least, you should see if we've worked in your niche market and if those templates are available and what results we've got in your market. We've worked in over 100 niche markets in the last 10 years of running this firm, so the chances are high. We've already done all the hard work for you already. And these templates are so good that we got people that just start whole other businesses revolving from that exact template. If you want to start an e-commerce business, the best way to do that is to take one of our templates to sell a commodity item that you can get from China and just set up the campaign and matching landing page with it that we give you, and you're going to have turnkey results. It is the easiest way to start a business. Or if you want to start a really good passive income business, you could start a lead generation business where you're selling leads, flipping leads, people in a certain market. And because our template gets leads at such a low cost, you can easily do that, which we've had several people do as well. As long as you're in a different geographic market than our current or past client, you can use the templates there and make turnkey money. Just like with the e-commerce business, a lot of times people will sell a product like a mattress in country A. You could sell it in country B, which they're never going to be operating there, and get the same results there. It's doesn't get easier than that in terms of starting a business. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.